Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my wedding Q&A part 2. It's been a hot minute since I posted part 1, and I know, I'm not even gonna deny that. I recently started a new job and I've also been doing a lot of freelancing stuff, so I apologize for the break in these videos. I've just honestly had the hardest time being consistent on this channel, and thank you guys for those of you that have stuck with me and messaged me on Instagram and tell me you love my stuff, because it does keep me motivated to keep posting here. But yeah, so we're here today to do part 2. I am going to jump right back in where we left off from part 1. If you haven't seen part 1, it'll be linked below. These questions were put out through my Instagram story. You guys sent me a ton of them, so I decided to split them up. And as you might know if you watch part 1, some of these have been combined into one question if they had a similar answer. And then there were also a couple that I'm gonna address in a separate video, which pertains to more like loaded questions about the top 5 things I learned or advice to brides. So again, if you haven't watched part 1, I highly recommend it. I go over all that. And I also am going to be answering these questions really rapid fire so that this isn't a super long video, because we have quite a few questions to get through. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first question in today's Q&A is, tell us about your bridal shower. I had a request on my last Q&A to put up some photos because not everybody has an Instagram. If you want to go check out my Instagram, there are pictures, but I'm going to include some here. My bridal shower was in June. It was a gorgeous day, although it was 95 degrees. We had the shower at my matron of honor's home, where my wedding was also held, and she, my maid of honor, and my mom all threw it together. It was like a brunch. We had a brunch bar, we had a mimosa bar. It was so much fun, and it was a really gorgeous day. The theme was lemons, and it was just a really great day with all the ladies in my life, and I had a great time. So shout out to everybody who helped put that together. It was awesome. What did I DIY that I wish I didn't? I had one project in particular that I started to make a custom card box, and we ended up using the one from my shower, and it was just like the biggest waste of my time. So my biggest advice when it comes to DIY for your wedding is, if you don't have to DIY it, don't, because DIY projects take a long time. They're fun. If they're gonna save you a ton of money, then great. If they're just like DIY to DIY, I would recommend skipping them. For instance, like, I had a card box at my bridal shower and I saw it, and my matron of honor had bought it for me, and I was like, can we just use this for the wedding too? And she was like, yeah, and like saved me so much time and money doing that. So if you have other alternatives and you don't have to DIY something, I wouldn't, because it does take up a lot of time, and half the time like projects don't even get finished. So that was just kind of a regret, was just like planning out all these DIY things, because it was just a lot of work. Who gave speeches at the wedding? My matron of honor gave a speech, and our best man, and we gave the option to my maid of honor and our parents, but everybody just kind of like was a little bit shy, I think. So we just had the 2 speeches, and then Brandon and I got up and addressed everybody, and it was just perfect length of time, and they gave speeches that were really sweet and heartfelt, and made us laugh, so that was great. Most difficult part of organizing your own wedding? Definitely dealing with coordinating vendors, coordinating people in general. People are just not always super responsive, and it can be very frustrating to kind of coordinate everyone together on the same day. Finding vendors that like were gonna work with what we were doing and had availability. And then like my biggest thing is that I assumed that everybody, because they work in the wedding industry, was gonna be super professional, and I ran into a lot of very unprofessional habits that some of our vendors had. So it was a little frustrating getting past all of that, and also coordinating our guests and trying to figure out our guest list and trying to revise said guest list once COVID hit. That was all just like easily the most difficult part of the whole thing. What was the most fun part of organizing my own wedding? Definitely the decor and the style and the overall design of the day was super fun to put together. Like I said, we did some DIY, that was good, but just seeing it all come together on the day of was the best thing ever. Did the day go as fast as everyone says? For us, it was parts of it went by fast and parts of it didn't. I felt overall like the day had a good length to it. I didn't feel like it went by in a blink of an eye. I feel like if there had been more going on, if we'd been at a venue and I had had more vendors involved and more like happening, it might have gone by faster. But because we simplified everything, it was a slower pace, and I think that helped us enjoy it more. When was my relaxed, all is good moment? That was during the reception. I did have this moment where we were sitting at our sweetheart table and I looked out over everybody who was eating and having a great time. Everyone was laughing, enjoying the setting we had put together, the drinks, the food we had specifically chosen, and just seeing everybody enjoying themselves was the best thing. It just, all the stress, like if there was any stress at that point in my body, it just left because all that was left to do was have fun, and that was awesome. Most stressful part of planning, 100% hands down, the money. Paying for vendors, having to constantly have bills like towards all these vendors on top of our normal bills. If you don't know, Brandon and I paid for our wedding completely on our own. I'm sorry, I misspoke. We completely paid for our wedding aside from catering. Brandon's parents very graciously gave us the money for catering, but everything else was on us. So we paid for photography, videography, rentals, a lot of money flying around, and big numbers, scary numbers, and to have bills constantly hanging over our head and having to have due dates for vendors and things was so stressful. It was amazing when it was all over and we had paid everything off, but at the time it was all I thought about and worried about. And with COVID and a job change, it just added to that. So I'm glad that part of it is over. How did we savor moments the day of? Like I said, it was about living in the moment. It was about being as stress-free as possible. Organization was a great way to ensure that the day of was stress-free and that I could just be present. And that's how I was all day. I was very present in the moment. I was trying hard not to think too far ahead. I was excited for the ceremony and everything, but that morning I was just trying to enjoy time with my girls. And then during the ceremony, I was just focusing on Brandon, and like we were in our little bubble and it was like no one else was there. And just doing that consistently throughout the day and taking it all in and looking out over all the people that were there and just enjoying ourselves is easily the best way to savor it. And I didn't personally have a hard time doing that. I consistently was reminding myself, you know, take it in, this is your day. One thing I wish I'd passed on and one thing I wish I didn't. I wish I had passed on our wedding cake. We did not need a wedding cake. We got a 1-tier, really small cake to cut. It wasn't that small though, because it was like 6 layers. So it was tall and it was a lot of cake, like a lot of cake. It could have fed probably 25 people. We cut it and then everyone rushed and grabbed all the donuts that we supplied off the shelf and nobody touched the cake, and I was begging people to have cake. No one wanted it. It ended up sitting out and collecting little tiny bugs in its buttercream frosting, and it was gross, and we threw it away because I was not about to try and freeze it with little bugs in it. And so it pretty much got wasted, and we could have gone to a grocery store and just gotten a cake there for like $20 as opposed to spending quite a bit more than that at the bakery that we got the donuts from. Side note though, the donuts were a huge hit. Everybody loved them. They went nuts for these donuts, and I wish we had just cut like a donut. I think that would have been funny and also would have saved us quite a bit of money. If you don't love cake, don't get a cake. I wish I didn't pass on a coordinator. I wish I had gotten a day of coordinator, because while I was able to do the timeline stuff myself, what I didn't take into account was the people on the day of the wedding, and having someone as a neutral party to just deal with people, deal with getting guests from one place to the next. This fell a lot on my bridal party. They did a phenomenal job with dealing with everybody. However, if I had had a coordinator, it would have made their day a lot easier and more enjoyable, I think. It would have just been somebody, like I said, that was a neutral party that didn't really care like what people thought and could maybe just be a little more authoritative. And I just think that would have been great. So I wish I had hired a coordinator. Hardest thing to do with the wedding day as it got close. Easily the hardest thing was hurrying up and waiting. So we like plan, and then the week of the wedding shows up and it's like, oh, we can't do anything till Wednesday because the rentals didn't show up till Wednesday. So we basically sat around for 3 days and it drove me nuts. I was so stir crazy. I felt like I was wasting so much time. I felt like I was behind on schedule when I really wasn't. Like you'll see in my vlog that we just couldn't do a ton the beginning of the week. I did what I could. I had a few things here and there to do, but I was so prepared otherwise that it was a lot of sitting around, and that was really hard to deal with. What was our cake flavor? Going back to that cake, it was marble with strawberry preserve filling, and then we got classic buttercream frosting. It was good, the donuts were better. How was my bachelorette party? My bachelorette party was so fun. It was me, my matron of honor, one of our really close friends, my mother-in-law, my mom, and my 2 sisters. My maid of honor unfortunately had to work, which was really sad. I wish she could have been there. We ended up going to Board and Brush, which is a place where you make like cute decorative signs for your house. And in my wedding photos, you'll see that we're holding a Better Together sign, and I actually made that at my bachelorette party. I absolutely love it. It's now in my dining room. It's great decor. And after we did that, we did like a private party at Board and Brush. So it was very COVID safe. Everyone had masks and it was just us there. We then went out to eat and got some nice Italian food, which is my favorite. And then we went and stayed in a hotel on Old Orchard Beach for the night. And it was just me, my matron of honor, and our good friend. And we went out to one of the bars. We had our own little table because COVID, you know, we had to stay there, but that was fine. Had some rum buckets, had a great girls' night. We went and got some fried dough, and then we went to bed. And that was it. And it was so low-key, and it was so much fun, and I just really enjoyed myself. So 10 out of 10, definitely recommend a low-key bachelorette, especially if that's your personality, which is me. How did I feel in the week leading up to the wedding? Tired, exhausted, so tired. I wanted to sleep every moment of the day, every day. I wanted to take a nap. I didn't want to do anything. It's so weird. I'm contradicting what I just said 5 minutes ago. I just said how I was so like, I feel like we're behind schedule. Because of that, I was anxious and I wasn't sleeping well. So then I was waking up during the day and I was like in my mind going, all right, I gotta do those odds and ends things, but I just wanted to take a nap all week and it really threw me off. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to be adrenaline pumping like a cannonball, just bing, 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 like flying around doing stuff. But because I had a lack of things to do and I was not sleeping well, I just wanted to nap every single day, every moment of the day. And I did. I napped a few times. And you'll see in the vlog of our wedding week, if you haven't watched that yet, I am so tired all the time and I take a nap. I think it was on Wednesday or Thursday of that week because I was like, that's it. I need to sleep. I need to sleep. And it needs to be Friday so we can have rehearsal and we can move on to the wedding day and this can be over. I was just over it. We are getting married in October and our venue canceled too. Any pandemic wedding advice? Congratulations, it's almost October. I really hope you're still getting married if you submitted this question. My pandemic wedding advice, cut your day down as small as you can so that it's safe and still do it. I know a lot of people have moved their weddings to next year. However, not to be a negative Nancy, but we have no idea what next year is gonna look like. And for us personally, we did not want to continue the stress of not knowing what the heck was gonna happen into next year. We had already dealt with that for several months earlier in the year when everything first started happening. We went through months of the unknown and we were like, we want this to be a certainty. So we decided to do the backyard wedding. You may not be able to still have like a 50-person wedding, which is what I did. It was all family. You might not be able to do that. If you can elope, do it. If you're comfortable doing something like that, cutting your wedding day down so that it's still you and your spouse and you guys are still enjoying your day, I guarantee you it's going to still be special. I feel like a lot of people are like, no, I gotta have my party. I gotta have my party. It is not about the party. It's about you and your spouse. So if you can still do your day on a smaller scale, I would do it. I have so many friends that have gotten married this year and they highly recommend doing the small intimate wedding. I recommend it. It's becoming a trend, I swear. It's gonna be like the next big thing for weddings is the small weddings, because you walk away from it less stressed, less broke, and with the same happiness that you would as having a huge wedding. If none of this is resonating with you, what I'm saying right now, and you disagree with me 100%, that is okay too. If you wanna move your wedding to next year, that's okay too. It's what you're comfortable with. It's what you think is gonna be the safest route for you. It's what's gonna be financially the best for you. But I personally love the intimate weddings that everyone's doing. I love the elopements. I just think they're beautiful. I think they're special and intimate. And I say, if you're considering it, go for it. Did anything surprise me? Yes. On my wedding day, I was super zen. I didn't expect to be super zen. I was completely calm. I also didn't cry until our vows. I thought I was gonna be a blubbering mess all day. I wasn't any of those things. I was shocked with myself. I attribute it to the fact that I was organized and that I had prepared for this for 17 months, and I would hope I'd be all set on the day of. I just wasn't stressed out, and I was having fun. I was enjoying myself, and to me that was shocking, because that's not how I am. I'm very type A. I'm very need to be in control. On the day of the wedding, I let it all go, and I just said, what's gonna happen is what's gonna happen. And we did have like little hiccups here and there, but really nothing crazy. And overall, I felt completely just happy and great. That made me very happy, because when I get stressed, I get migraines. I was prepared for that. I had like already taken Advil like that morning to kind of combat anything that was gonna happen, but none of that ended up happening, and it was amazing. What's an expense I under budgeted? Definitely the little things at the end. The week of the wedding, we had to go to the store and buy all the odds and ends that we had neglected to buy the whole time. For instance, we had to buy tiki torches and citronella fluid. We had to buy citronella candles for all the bugs. We had to purchase serveware. We had to purchase the non-alcoholic drinks, the water. There was a lot that we had to buy. And what ended up happening was it was a huge bill at the end. Hundreds of dollars of stuff had to get purchased the week of the wedding. And I feel like had we spread that out, it would have been a lot better, a lot less stressful, but we didn't decide to do that. So just remember that if you have a bunch of little things at the end, you might get sticker shock. We budgeted for it technically, but I was not anticipating it to be so much money. If I could go back to the beginning and do something different, what would it be? Honestly, I talked about getting a coordinator. I talked in my other Q&A about having our DJ stick around, and I still stand by that. But otherwise, I'm pleased to say that we didn't have a single time on my wedding day where we were off schedule, and the day went extremely smooth. I had my photographer and videographer both tell me that it was one of the smoothest weddings that they'd ever shot, that we were never off schedule, and that they were super impressed, and would have thought that we had a wedding planner if they had not known that I planned the whole thing. And that was the biggest compliment that I think I received ever. It made me so happy to have spent 17 months doing this, and to have someone say that to me made me want to cry, happy tears. And the day just went so well. It was enjoyable for me. I didn't feel like I was having to constantly run around. Everyone was just wonderful, and I wouldn't change it for the world, even without COVID. I mean, I'm happy that things happened the way they did, because we got to have a smaller wedding, less stress, save money, and still have it be super special. And in the end, we're married, and that's the best thing. So that's my little 2 cents about that, and I wouldn't change it at all, ever. And talking to anybody who had to cut their wedding down and do an elopement or whatever, they all said the same thing, that they wouldn't change it. So that's it for today's Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed, and again, be on the lookout for my top 5 things that I learned and advice for future brides video. I'm hoping to film that soon. Again, I've been really busy with a new job. I've been doing a lot of training, and that's something I'll talk about in an upcoming video. I want to do a life update again. But yeah, welcome to my YouTube channel for married life. I don't know what that content is going to entail, but if you have any suggestions, please leave them down below. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like my channel, make sure you subscribe to me. Follow me on Instagram for more rapid life updates. I don't post as much here as I do there. Make sure you click the bell to never miss a video here when I do upload. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.